Operational Harmony, Balancing Business and Mental Well-Being, where we achieve goals without sacrificing peace. I'm Nikki, owner and founder of Nikki's Office, where I specialize in providing comprehensive remote office services and coaching for organic social media growth. Talking with Joe today, and I am going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, Nikki, Joe Stoff here. Thank you for having me on the show today. Appreciate it. Looking forward to discussing why mental health is a lifestyle symptom of mindset, gut, and nervous system regulation.
Looking to figure that one out myself.
Cool.
Okay.
So I like to help moms understand the nervous system so that they can find peace and bring peace into their homes, because moms always care about the entire family. And I found myself in this neurology mentorship. And along the way, I had done a lot of mindset work, becoming NLP certified, and by discovering the powers of our mind that, like, frankly, they've known forever, but they don't tell us in school, which I found offensive. And then just always having a certain experience with the medical system, and then my own life experience, like what worked, what didn't. Right. And so mental health has kind of become a passion topic of mine when I consider it to be something that is so largely spoken about in such a negative light. And it's almost like intentional programming to me. Right.
How do you see that?
Well, in college, they came out with a marketing campaign and a slogan that the average student only drinks 5 drinks per week. I didn't drink. And I knew some other people that didn't drink. But the average that I saw of my classmates was 5. No. Like, that wasn't true in my dorm or any other dorm where I had this conversation with friends who lived in other dorms. It was a marketing campaign by the university. Over time, that became true. The scores for the students to get in there, they went up. It became true. So we can kind of set whatever message that we want to set and put out into the world and see what happens, which the powers that be know and understand very well. They also know and understand very well what disrupts our nervous system. The food industry knows very, very well what foods will have us continuing to buy their foods because they want our money to keep coming back. And the impact of our nervous system, there's no rest and digest if you have a dysregulated nervous system. So how do you have good nutrition? You might be eating perfectly. How many people have done all the diet things, but yet they can't figure out their gut issue? Have they done training with their nervous system? Right? The idea that our gut is going to help depend on what's going on for our chemicals, for our hormones in our brain. You know, it's dubbed the second brain in those regards.
And neither one of my brains is doing very well.
I'll be self-critical.
No, I have gut issues and I have mental health issues. So, like, if my gut and my brain are supposed to be my beings, then they're both, kind of screwed.
I mean, I appreciate that vulnerability. Is a lot of people, that's how it is. You know, speaking with a woman yesterday, she wants better energy, right? But she eats the same thing for breakfast every morning. I wasn't really judgmental of what she ate. Like, it sounded great, right? But if her digestion isn't strong enough to process that, and she's having an energy issue, then we probably have to address what's the first thing you're eating in the morning, or address the nervous system to kind of figure some of that stuff out, right?
Mhm.
Because clearly, she's doing the healthy things. She's making the lifestyle changes, right? She's tried the different diets, but her energy hasn't changed, but she eats the same thing every morning. But that type of story isn't true for everyone either,
Is that
right?
dang you?
Yeah, I don't know how to shut it off.
So I thought that was me for a second. I was like, which thing is doing that?
Let's see if that works. This really, it's very triadic. I mean, to me, what is our mindset telling ourselves about our gut? We might have anxiety stories that we keep repeating over and over again. This is who I am. This is how I am. This is who I am. Well, that's your identity that you keep repeating over and over again. That's just awareness to me. That's not labeling somebody as having this thing in their life that they need a medication for or to put them down. It's just not really speaking into the human, their full potential. It's not explaining all of the tools that they use every day because they raise their hand to their mouth and put food in it. And what maybe some of those things look like in order to heal. It's like the definition of insanity. You can't keep eating the same things or have the same cycle of the things that you eat and expect different energy or different results, different mental performance, right? And in fact, the one thing that you can pretty much guarantee is the mental struggles will be more difficult as you pretty much go on the journey of healing yourself too. Because there's just all of the stuff that we're like an onion that's just built up all these layers of things that we've hung on to for some reason or another as a piece of our identity, right? There's so many possibilities of where someone's at and what they're dealing with of like potentials. Like we can get real specific and go down a rabbit hole for me that makes it all make sense. But
That's
we're looking for alignment. And to me, that alignment is your mindset, what's going on with your gut and your nervous system feeling safe enough for you to show up in the world as a magnificent human.
what title do you give yourself? Because there's life coaches, there's that coaches. What's your title? And how have placed you're working with people?
Um, I don't, I mean, a neuro trainer is probably a title. A lot of people call me a lot of different titles. I don't really give myself a title. I'm not qualified to have any titles. That's just the way that, I seek all authority figures who would say that I am nobody. You're right. I am nobody. Don't listen to me. Like,
Okay.
I'm just a human who's having a human experiences, who shares things, who's learned to do things very, very well, and had different trainings along the way that have made a lot of these pieces of the puzzle make sense. So people will come to me for all kinds of different reasons because they've been doing all of these things and it's not working. And they're like, help me. And it's usually pretty easy for me because you have to try so many different things before you can really start to find answers.
Mm.
And if somebody hasn't kind of been on the journey of trying different things, well, then there's a lot of places they can start. I don't really care where they start.
Okay.
Do they get started with one type of supplement or another? Like, I don't know. You don't even know enough about your own body. Like, what do you want to do?
So
Right.
when you first start talking to somebody, how do you decide which path they go down or what would be best for them?
How much, right? Like if they're just, I'm not really sure what this guy's talking about, well, hey, try these things in your life. Have a go at it. See if they impact your life. I'm not really out to sell anyone any one particular thing other than they've got to take the action for themselves to change their life. any other story that is outside of you taking full responsibility for what you're going to do moving forward is on you. How much responsibility or accountability someone wants, with me, we decide we're good fits. I got to want to work with you as much as you got to want to work with my personality. Cause I'm a bit of a just blunt. Hey, this is the spade. I see a spade, and it's not personal. I don't care. So if somebody's going to get defensive about that, or there's other things that are going to happen, then we're probably just not a good fit. And if you need someone to completely hold your hand through all of these different things, probably not a good fit. Right? Like for me, it's you got to take that level of, okay, I'm going to learn this stuff. Let's get together and talk about it. Now I'm going to implement it. Now we can talk about what I'm noticing, changes that are taking place, whether it's you're eating or you're doing neuro drills. To me, you kind of want to start with both because you're putting food in your mouth every day and you're moving every day. Some level to doing training for your nervous system every day. Looking at a computer screen is a certain level of visual, right? How loud is the volume that people have in their ears or their speakers? The situation, right? Like each of those things is just a level of nervous system training that we just do every day.
Okay. What drills you have people do? Like I mean, I'm sure they get complicated, but at the beginning?
I mean, at the or as a trainer, we're looking for the patterns. Does the person have a normal brain pattern, or have they had different incidences in their lives that give them an abnormal brain pattern? Myself, I have an abnormal brain pattern. Was that because I've hit my head a bunch of times, or was it because I compound fractured my femur? Was it because I've had stitches a bunch of times at a young age? I don't know. Every level of something that happens to somebody's body in their history just creates a different environment for them. How much they move, how much they talk, typing. I mean, those are different outputs, whether we're walking, typing, or talking, that is having force move through us.
Then there's a
So,
whole new ball game where they do it all at the same time.
right. Exactly. Exactly. It's just so individualized, but there's the assessments. You're looking for the visual assessment, you're looking for the vestibular assessments, and those are the higher order systems, like the balance in our ears, the auditory, vision, where we have a blind spot. For me, I had one part of my brain that wasn't even turned on. Right? Like I'm looking at a Brock string and it's a drill where you should see X's and I see one string. And it's like if you hold up a string and put it right in front of you and pulled it out, both of your eyes should be able to see the string. You should be able to look up and down along the string and see like an X, right? I couldn't do that. I think I had no idea. I knew that when I went to the eye doctor, I didn't really have bad vision. My contacts are like -1.5. So it's not really bad vision at all. But when I went to do the eye test at the DMV, they told me that I had needed to wear glasses to drive. Well, it suddenly made sense because I'm putting my face down into a little screen to look for flashing. But if my one visual system is checking out when it gets threat because something's so close to my face, well, that's why I was failing that DMV test, right? It wasn't
And
actually glasses side of it because I was like, I can see everything. There's no reason I should have to wear glasses drive.
door glasses for everything.
I mean, people you either know or you don't know, right? But the fact that wearing glasses is a visual deficit. So they start to do training for your vision system, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different ways where the right type of drill with the right brain pattern for the right individual is where the magic happens. Like you can do lots of nervous system training, even just for movements in the gym, but you still kind of got to know which ones are going to be really good for you or not. And if you don't have that knowledge of yourself, you're at a disadvantage to the person who does. You're in theory going to continue to layer threat onto your system, but with the neuro training, then you could unlayer the threat that has been put on your system.
Mhm.
The different movements change the body. Things start to communicate differently, which is interesting versus a lot of the drugs that individuals are put on, which I'm not qualified to talk about the drugs. I typically, if I talk with anybody about the drugs, I suggest they talk to a compounding pharmacist about the drugs that they are taking to do whatever it is that they want to accomplish. Because it's amazing how much a compounding pharmacist knows about drugs. And if you don't like the first one you talk to 3 of them. Right? Like just get an idea of what it is that you're putting in your body. One medication they have research on. When people start to take multiple medications, now they're guinea pigs. Just like if you decide to eat this type of food diet or that type of food diet, or you take this type of supplement or that type of supplement, if you're taking multiple medications, you're varying your own experiment. And a lot of the times people are giving up their authority to somebody else that says, hey, just take this one little pill. I like supplementation. So, I mean, it's not that I don't like saying, hey, there's some cool science behind taking this one little pill. Right. And there's good research behind a lot of the pills that people get prescribed. But when you read the disclaimers of those solutions, they come with a host of side effects, potentially. Take this for up to 6 months. So make lifestyle changes. Use this as a solution for those lifestyle changes. Don't try to just use a crutch for your lifestyle.
So if you want, I am currently on 14 different medications and 2 shots.
Prime candidates, the stuff that I'm talking about, I see like so many people have their situation. Right.
I have an autoimmune. I have too much fluid in my brain. I have I have migraines. I've had a headache since 2019 every single day.
So autoimmune, Lyme's disease, these are typically brainstem issues. Like those issues, people want to do training in their brainstem areas. But you find the training systems that are good for you, and then you practice and you train those systems. You don't necessarily try to do them all. There's really cool things that people can do to shortcut those with the right professionals, using fancy things like lasers and their neuro drills. And, there's ways that stuff can be like a springboard where you can put the right pieces together. But the fact when you say 14 different medications and 2 shots, it sounds like you just got handed the kitchen sink. And I wonder if all of the people that have told you to take each one of those, if they even know that someone else has told you to take other ones.
Yep. They all have a list of my medication.
Like, that's wild. And if you look at all of the side effects for each of those medications, you're probably experiencing a lot of those side effects in your lifestyle.
I haven't looked at the side effects in a while, but it gets gnarly when you start looking at
Yeah, well, you're 14. It gets people. I've worked with people who have been on up to 7 and help them figure out like how can you start decreasing them. They're giving people a hormonal, and you're no longer getting certain ones that build up in your fat tissues, and that stuff starts to unlayer. Like I said, when you start to kind of do things better, the mental stuff gets harder. That's a prime example of where the mental stuff can get to be really hard. So you need the right tools, you need the right environment, you need the right nutritional supplementation so that when stuff gets really, really difficult, you're gradually easing into a transition of life versus being stuck in this treadmill of, I feel crappy, I'm going to go talk to somebody. Somebody's next solution is to take another medication. Okay, this kind of gives me this little bit of change, but I'm going to go back to them and I'm not getting this anywhere. And I'm going to ask for another solution. So like, hey, what can you help me with? And their next solution is another pill. And it's like this treadmill that just gets repeated, and how that exists from the education standpoint of how they got rid of herbs and, from the education system. And then they got patents for their medications and they put all of this stuff out into the world. Blows that. I mean, he wrote so many books. It's crazy. When you search his name on Amazon, but the people who have because when I started researching viruses back in 2007, it was really interesting that there was 2 camps of people's belief systems around viruses. And it was like, wait a second, people don't always all believe that viruses are the way that viruses I've been taught my whole life viruses are. Well, Rudolf Steiner is like the grandfather of the alternative theory that talks about viruses basically being decaying cells and unhealthy cells in the human body. And happening from a frequency standpoint. Okay. What he said about the shots that people get in 1913, I didn't know the shots like that existed the way that he talked about them in 1913.
I remember them being
Like the only thing I remember is polio. Like people are going to talk about shots, it's polio. Like that's 1950s. This guy talks about vaccines as not being a very good thing since 1913. Like that was really eye-opening when you like look at some of his quotes. And then the fact that he thinks differently versus how we're told how it works. Like what's really going on in there, right? But that's where the transition of all of this power took place into these patents, into having all of these corporations. I mean, most of the people's 401ks go to Wall Street, that go into a few corporations that own majority of every corporation across every industry. So now you have like 4 corporations that are majority shareholders, either by themselves or jointly with one of the other 3 corporations, if not all 4 of them, in every major industry that exists, and a funnel of money that just fuels it. I mean, I always tell people that Wall Street went up the Catholic Church. And just have the Catholics sending the money to Rome and have every financial institution sending their money to Wall Street. Right? Like it's wild when we tell other people we give up our powers. And for me, that's where mental health, like we grew up in an unhealthy mental situation. Everyone programming, trying to get you to exist into their box so that you live a productive life for their supply. And there's some happiness along the way, tucked in here and tucked in there. But there's not the people who are growing up in systems where people are loving on them and telling them they're a genius and looking for the magic that this little person is going to create in the world.
Unless you go too far and you become Karen, letting your kid do anything and everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just always that fine line where judgment can come from one side or the other, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the real experience of the experiment in that moment, in that circumstance? One of the things politically that drives me bonkers is it's this emotional topic or that emotional topic. It's not like, let's just have that conversation in the community where the conversation needs to be had. No one needs to create all these big rules, because what's the actual person in the community feeling and dealing with? Like, that's what matters, is the community of people, the individuals that are struggling with mental health. And 40% of our population is taking these drugs that the biochemistry will never allow you to have the gut health to fix when you're taking those medications. Like, the biochemistry for a healthy human isn't even possible because of what those medications are only allowing your body to do at a biochemistry level. But you feel good in this safety, so you keep taking these medications because stuff and all kinds of, whether it's a mental frustration or it's a gut thing that gets thrown off, or something's going to get thrown off the second you disrupt what makes you feel safe. And that, to me, is where the nervous system training comes into play so much too. Is because when you know your drills, your brain pattern, you can do these easy little exercises that take a few minutes. They'll allow you this different space that you can keep transitioning through. It's not a matter of feel crappy when they stop drinking alcohol. But how crappy does the alcoholic have to feel? And what does their mindset have to be for them to have like the most amazing transition from alcoholism into sobriety?
Yeah, rock bottom is not a nice place.
Rock anything and withdrawal symptoms of any kind from anything, they're terrible. I wasn't even healthy when I stopped drinking Mountain Dew. I stopped drinking Mountain Dew because my roommate spent less on beer than I spent on pop, and I was paying for college. And the withdrawals that I went through when I stopped drinking Mountain Dew, my roommate was like, "Shut up and drink a Mountain Dew. You're an asshole." I just never looked back. But that substance had that kind of control on me. I don't want any substance, supplement, or anything to have that type of an effect where it's like, I'm going to have this physical reaction to like not having access. Like, no.
Mountain Dew never messed up your stomach.
Oh, yeah.
Then it goes,
I mean,
stomach tears my stomach to pieces. I can't drink. I like it. And I'll get every once in a while, I'll get a glass of it, but that's all. Even that glass will make my stomach hurt for days.
there's so many there's so many toxins that the United States three-letter agencies say are safe for humans in America that are not allowed in Europe and other countries there. The food industry knows the money and the chemistry of what we will consume and how hard we will fight for that feeling that whatever chemistry their product gives for us.
Yeah, we're addicted to way more than we think we are.
That's why, for me, part of the greatest thing anybody can do for their digestive health is never eat the same stuff over and over again. Like, have the digestive strength to always be changing it and never be consumed by like, if I don't get this thing, my emotions go this way. Like, no, I want to be metabolically flexible.
I eat the same things day after day, or sometimes more, because I am a habit maker than it is because I have to have something. It's more, I've eaten this twice, so now I'm going to have to eat this until I'm sick of it. Which means for like the next 6 to 8 months, I'm eating brats or a sandwich for lunch every day. Like it's not even like the product that I don't care what what the thing is. It's just, this is what my brain has decided I want. And I make habits very easily, and it's very hard.
The habit thing is great, right? But what if the habit is, on this day, I prep my meals for the week, and on this day, I get the meals for this week, and at this time, I do the meal prep for this week, and I might eat the same thing because that's what the meal prep looked like. But the next time when you have the discipline to look at the meal prep again, you just make it different.
Mhm.
Last time these things were on the menu. Now I want this other stuff on the menu. Your mental state, how you feel 4 hours after you eat, 12 hours after you eat, 24 hours after you eat, all the way up to 72 hours after you eat. And then even 30 days later, like from an Ayurvedic perspective, they say that our diet takes 30 days to go through energetically, go through our entire system. So by the time it goes from, our lymphatic system into our blood, into our muscles, into the tendons, ligaments, whatever the order is, I don't remember. Uh,
What was
Lymphatic,
that word you
blood,
just used? The aram.
Ayurvedic.
What? Yeah, what does that word mean? Sorry.
It's the study of life. It's life
Oh, okay.
science. It's like the Indian type of medicine from India.
Okay.
So just, there's basically Bible, so to speak. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try to tell you what the name of the book is. But it's like a nutritional book from an Ayurvedic perspective, that all the doshas and whatever your symptoms are. Is it hot? Is it cold? Are you fire? Is it earth? Is it, they just have this whole language, and paying attention to humans for so many years, like hundreds, thousands, right? That are in, the original book is in the Sanskrit. So the language of what the information in that book goes back, our Sanskrit language goes back. So, there's a lot of knowledge that we know about healing people when we look at the body from the Ayurvedic perspective. Another doctor who died in 1920, Dr. Earhart, talked about the mucusless diet. And the way that he spoke about medication, again, I thought that medication was like 1950s, and he died in 1921 after giving a sold out lecture to doctors at a hotel in LA, where they wouldn't allow anyone else to enter the room because of fire code. Okay. So 1921, you travel across the country by train, by buggy, however you want to get there, because you hear of this man who healed himself of Bright's disease, and he's teaching doctors what to do. Okay. And he talks about, and then he goes out to go home to the suburbs, and he had new shoes on, according to the newspapers, and he slipped on the curb and hit his head. Now, I don't buy that story for 1 second. I think that was probably one of the first people that Big Pharma killed, because he was talking about Big Pharma as if I thought Big Pharma existed in 1950, but he was already passed away.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of mind. So now we believe that we have an autoimmune disease, and we wonder, why is my body attacking itself? When in reality, we can command our body to heal itself. We can say, you need to heal, and I want you to heal now. And you can start thinking about everything that you do for your body is how it's helping you heal. Every aspect, you just believe of how it's helping you heal, and you see it happening. It's really easy to say, super easy to talk about. Actually, just having the blind faith when you feel so crappy that you can visualize the stuff leaving you through the majority of your day, which means that you're going to no longer think about your pain because you're going to be so obsessed with thinking about all of the healing energy that's flowing through of you for you to have a miraculous healing, because that's what you expect from your body. It's like in a coffee shop, I was listening to two nursing students, and they were talking about this woman with cancer, and she was going to now have to wait for the results. And I said, "So you told her about epigenetics," as I interjected blindly into their conversation. And she says, "Why would I do that?" "Well, don't you know what epigenetics is, right?" She said, "Yeah, it's the power of our thoughts and how we can heal and what's going on with our genes." I said, "It's really cool that you know that." And I said, "Now do you understand why you would have said that to your patient?" She said, "No, I still don't understand." I said, "You just sent her home to wait to hear about her results. And if you don't talk to her about the power of epigenetics, then she's going to go home and she's going to replay over and over in her mind the concern and worry she has for a cancer diagnosis." So do you think the cancer is going to manifest in her body? Do you think the conclusion that she's going to get a call back from is going to say, "Yeah, you have cancer"? Or like, do you want to be somebody who's like, "Okay, you're telling me that this is what I'm working with, and I'm going to tell you that give me 90 days and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you that that changes"? So do you fall into the trap where you immediately just do whatever they tell you to do because you saw it on one test, take one thing? Or did you get feedback and decide, okay, that's feedback, and now I'm going to dig in and I'm going to do something with that feedback. I'm going to make this change in my life over that change. It's it's all discipline. It's all hard, whether it's eating a new type of salad or just taking a supplement or exercising in a certain way or having awareness to be really upset and to be like, now's the time that I'm told that I should do these neuro drills. Can you transition from those emotions into another state? That's Again, that's only something everybody can ask and answer for themselves. And we're all only at wherever our level of training is at, because all we have to do is increase our training, change our training, vary our training, and then let magic happen. I mean, that's how I see it.
About mental health and health in general.
I compound fractured my femur when I was 18. Um, Went to college at the university, the therapists, doctors, chiropractic. So a lot of interest in people being, talking to me about my body, but I was there for other reasons and had problems. I had rods, had to have them removed. So year two, I go back to college again, just having second surgery. After having the rods removed, doctor wouldn't take them out any sooner than that. And they really causing me problems with my IT band when I was walking, they would catch. So I just saw kind of like the power of the body for the scar where they've been, the size of it versus like the size where they took both rods out because they had moved as my body healed. And then I healed some more after going through that. Um, got caught up in the programming of college life and expectations and uh, found myself bartending, then got a bar. After a while, though, I was pretty much a 70-year-old bartender with aches and pains in my hips and shoulders, and I'd only bartended for like 3 years. So there's guys who are veterans in the bartending industry and bar owning industry, and I'm looking at their lives. I'm thinking about what do I want in my life? Like, I do not want to be alcoholic. I do not want probably the death that they will have. Um, Experience because of how much alcohol they drink. And, it's just kind of like one of those hard things where you just take a look at your life of like, what am I going to do? And I got to the point where it was like the people who come in here and when they have fun, I have a ton of fun. And when the people come in here with their problems over and over again, it's like we talk about it and then they don't go do anything. And like, I just can't be somebody who just doesn't go do anything. Like, I got to just go do something different. And one night I was complaining to my roommate who was getting his master's in kinesiology at the time about somebody calling me a coke addict because I was like 130 pounds at 6'1", and they didn't think I ate, and something I'd never done in my life. And I was mad. And he goes, dude, go get the box for the granola bars you're eating. I was like, why? He goes, because all you do is eat crap. He's like, you eat a ton of food, but you don't eat anything good. All you eat is crap. So then I got out of the bar business. I ended up taking another job and then starting to and sold the bar and moved to California, got into business and was living with my previous roommate who had made these comments to me. And I started kind of training with him and some of his other friends, trainers, of what I was capable of. And one of those college buddies moved back to Wisconsin about the same time that I ended up moving back to Wisconsin. And so I'd go see him every week and he'd work me out. And I just kept making the gut changes and figuring out from technology, hey, there's something here I got to change. Well, what can I do to change this? Like, I should be able to heal this. And I kept looking for ways that I could heal it myself while being told, you know, you need functional medicine testing, you need all these things. But I also just kept consuming books upon books of doctors who are experts and looking for like where the docs connected of what they say is good and how can I put this into my life. So I just became really disciplined in a lot of different experiments, a lot of different supplements, a lot of different habits of, okay, if I got to do this every day, you don't got to do it long, but what happens if you do it every day? Right. Looking for those evolutions. And then 3 years ago, 2020, I got exposure to this different way of looking at our nervous system through applied neurology. And I kept referring people to the mentorship and they finally were like, why aren't you doing it? I was like, well, I don't have that background. They're like, you don't need that background. Can you see people move? Can you see the differences? Can you help them understand their nervous system and their body? I was like, yeah, I can do that. She was like, you don't need to know the $10,000 words. She's like, you refer when people need the $10,000 words. I was like, I can do that. Like, I already do that. Gut stuff. Like, do you need the testing of what your gut is? Like, okay, talk to this person. They can sit with you and talk to you about your results, about what you need to do. Then once you've had that conversation with them, you come back and we can have some more conversations and I'll help you based on what they told you. Right. Like, that's my sweet spot, not trying to be the person who's the expert of this is the thing. Right. So now I'm in my third year with the neurology mentorship, and each year there's more brain connections for how it all works. There's more lifestyle symptoms. So that's why to me, the mental health is a lifestyle symptom. Whatever you're eating, the thoughts that you're having, the things that you're watching, the things that you're reading and consuming for your mental state, as much as your physical state of whatever you're putting in your mouth, right? If someone's having a problem, then those are the things that they've got to look at. The nervous system is the master key. It's connected and communicating against all of those things, right? The mental output of even the language that we use for the frameworks of how we might talk about ourselves, right? It's the nervous system related response where someone doesn't feel safe, right? Like, they just need to be seen. They need that level of safety, which is why I want like working with moms. Because when moms start to see this lens of safety in the little nervous systems and they start to seek out the different layers of when the nervous system goes through development for the kids, and like, it's just a whole new world for like learning what this genius these parents are being super creators for, right? And the beauty of the child choosing the mom and dad to bless them in their life, right? Like, things that some people might not feel that way. Some people might not want to face some of that stuff. Right. But then we get into like the generational traumas and the energetic things of the emotions and like this world that's not just this physical, two-dimensional, biomechanical, this is how I get rid of pain. Right. And mental health to me is a lack of safety and a level of neediness for connection to be seen in community. And when we're eating and we're having conversations and people are being seen and we're sitting at the table together and everybody gets to be being their own great person because they love what they do and it lights them up to go do it. And they've got leisure time to go have fun and explore and be a kid, even as an adult. Yes, be a kid. Right? Like this is the vibrancy of the world that we can be living in on a larger scale. Like this world exists. A lot of people don't recognize the environments and they don't know where to go to see this type of world. But like when you can get in the world of somebody who lives at this level, like your world's changed. And it's not some 5D ascension stuff. It's literally just you being a different person and in different environments and different things happen and different vibes happen.
Mhm.
But we can magnify that at a much larger degree than what we see. I mean, well, the first solution is everybody kind of making the decision that they're going to be part of the solution, right?
Mhm.
Making the commitment to yourself that you're going to do and challenge your own mindset in every conceivable way. That's going to be the most empowering thing for humanity and the planet. You know,
Mhm.
can you reflect on your own actions, your own behavior, and can you look at that? And then, once you become who you are and you're doing amazing things in the world and you're living dirty and you've got your oxygen mask on, then how do you help other people?
Yeah.
Right. A lot of this has to do with protecting the family culture. A lot of programming gives people reasons to get away from these issues arise from. As we grow up as kids, like your parents were damaged, my parents were damaged, their parents were damaged, right? It's a ripple effect, but it has to stop at some point in place. And so anybody who's a listener can be that change in their family. And your family can be really protective and like all in on doing it with you. And that can be just really powerful because there's a bigger vibe, right? Or you could be the only one going about it yourself and connecting with new people and making new friends and finding yourself in a different river stream. And that's okay too. Like there's not a right or a wrong.
Okay.
Just do whatever is going to empower you. Uh, then you got to experiment with your gut, right? Like if you're feeling off or your life saying, hey, you don't put things in your mouth good, like change what you're putting in your mouth. For some people, that might mean you don't put broccoli in your mouth. Even though broccoli is a good
That's
food,
good.
even though broccoli is a good food, your body might not want broccoli. So, we got to take like almost all the things that we're told about the diet industry and throw it out the window until you know for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're either strengthening your system and you can eat whatever you want and your energy's good and you're a superhuman, or stuff's getting worse and you're not strengthening your system. So which end of the spectrum a person wants to live on, that's their choice. Right. Then from a neuro perspective, no matter how much we can learn about ourselves and like I can do my own neuro training, I still need another human to really help me at other levels. I need them for feedback. I need them for, you know, just things that I can't do by myself. Right. Like, so connect, right? You can do nervous system training, but like, what are the environments? Are they lighting you up? Are you feeling better? Um, but you're the solution. You just gotta, not you, but people, we catch the victim story. Like that mindset side of it is like, how often can you catch the words that just came out of yourself and say, if I was objectively reading what I just said, would I have to honestly look at myself as a victim because I just made that statement?
Yeah.
And if you find yourself being able to like stop doing all the times where we make a statement that allows us to be a victim, like you take so much power back. It's ridiculous.
So, I have your Facebook. That's going to be down in the stuff at the bottom. We also met through A to Z client, and I know you do some stuff with. So, do you want to explain that?
Um, A to Z is fantastic. So
Mhm.
for anybody who might also be an entrepreneur in the world, you need a CRM and you need a marketing system. Marketing system comes a lot of mindset barrier that people grow through in their business. So matching technology and mindset in business is something that I really, really enjoy because I believe in ethical, ecological, and empathetic business practices. So, like, today we're talking about mental health and the nervous system and the gut and take care of yourself. But you're like, hey, what's the solution? Well, to me, also the solution is once we start to connect and we're doing these things where we're taking better and better care of ourselves, then we're just using technology in a way that really benefits one another. So inside of A to Z, I just, I people have questions about where they're at, and I just help them get through some of those like that because at the end of the day, the marketing message is going to come local entrepreneurs who have the local in businesses that people go to. So in my process of figuring out solutions, I had to figure out how to use technology and your local economy all at the same time while understanding the same systems apply to the global economy.
I connected with A to Z because I don't remember the first thing. First thing was probably some ad I clicked o'clock in the morning, to be quite honest. And then I got the notice that they switched places and they went to school. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go there too. I forgot about you. And now I go to their meetings once a week and I'm learning a lot from them.
Yeah, they're
Patience is one thing that they have taught me a little bit of because some of, when you get any group of people together, there's always one or two in the group that you're going, why? Why did they let you near technology? You're going to ruin it. And so I have my days where I'm going, no, don't touch. Get somebody else to do it. Don't touch. Don't touch. But it's purely from the fact I had to fix mess ups like that, and it's not fun.
yeah. I mean, technology gets to be big and scary when it's not something. I always tell people it's like email for the first time. Really, really nervous when you first set up your AOL email address or Gmail or whatever it was originally for some people, right? But after you learn to check your email, social media, Facebook or Twitter, it's all, I don't know what to do until you just kind of get the vibe for the tribe, right?
Yeah.
And the technology that A to Z supplies is the same thing. You figure it out, put your foot in the water, it gets wet. You start to figure out what that wetness feels like, and it's not that terrible. And, eventually you're swimming and enjoying it. And it's a cool system that helps you make a bunch of money. And Mike and Teresa are super awesome humans. Known Mike for a
Yeah.
long time now. So, uh, great company.
Yeah. Okay. So, for my half, for the business half, I'm re-recording how I prioritize my tasks because I feel like I was a little rushed in what I did with Joe. So I'm taking this and recording it by myself, and I would just add it onto the recording. So when prioritizing tasks, I look at my tasks in a big, medium, little situation. First of all, I time block. So I have hours that I work, and then I get up and I go eat or something. And then I'll come back to the computer and work for some more. And then I will take a break to have dinner maybe, and then maybe come back just to kind of clean up any last minute things I was just in the midst of finishing. And then I will go back. And then that way I can cut off my time as working and maybe go game, read, or do some other things that certain people would probably be happier if I did more often. So within that field, so within each of my time blocks, I have tasks that I am trying to get done for people. So for none of my tasks take longer than a week. So obvious if you have bigger tasks that take longer, you'll have to set up your system a little bit differently than I do. But within a week, I should have completely cleared my books of everything that needs to be done by Friday. And then Saturday is usually used for editing work. Way I can have everything ready for the new week coming up. That way, people can make their posts on videos and things can move forward. I have weekly tasks that take a day or two, and then I have tasks that are smaller that could take anywhere from 15 minutes to a whole day to do. Work big, medium, small, because I don't know if you've ever seen there's a video, there's actually multiple videos, classrooms where an instructor puts a jar on the table and he puts like 5 or 6 big rocks in it. And then he asks the students, is that full? And they're all kind of like, yeah. And then he puts pebbles in it and they all go down and into the cracks and that fills it up more. And then he asks them, is that full? And they say, well, now, yeah. And then he puts in sand that goes in between all those cracks. And the students at this point are like, for sure it's full. But then he pours water into it. So if you start with your big tasks, you can complete, more stuff as it fits in around those bigger tasks. My biggest tasks usually are my appointments themselves with my different people that I'm talking to, getting tasks from people, setting up kind of how things are going to run, how I'm working with them, and what that looks like for them. And then I turn and I can that I am doing the things, obviously. So I'll work. Moment it's a 2-tier, trying to do 3-tier. So changing the way I'm doing my money system. But if you pay more, you get more attention. If you pay the lower amount, then your stuff is going to be one of those things that if I have too many of the higher paid items happening in a day, I may kick your thing down to the next day if it can be, or it's getting done later in the afternoon and maybe not as, you know, the only time people that something will be done today is if it is a quick email or if somebody who pays more and they're asking that something is done today. Realistically look at what I'm already doing and I'm like, what can I move to make sure that I can do this thing for that person? That not too much of a disparity between the people I work with. I treat everybody equally. It's just some people have paid more, and so they get a little bit more of my attention and they get priority above what tasks I'm going to do. So obviously, if you schedule an appointment with me, then I have, that is going to happen. Whatever tasks needs to happen will happen after that. I have a task that has to be done afternoon, but usually, the day, then the evening. And so I have to try to juggle that in as I can. Kind of helps things. Mostly what you want to be doing if you're trying to prioritize the task is to keep in mind what you're doing, how much time it's going to take, and what everything's going to take for the day. So you wouldn't want to tell somebody, even if they are a priority to you, if you already guaranteed, this done by Thursday to a bunch of people, and now it's Thursday and you're still working on that stuff. Obviously, even your priority people have to wait a day. I cannot take any new tests today. That will be put on my list for tomorrow, and I should be able to get that out tomorrow. That you can continue with your tasks on Thursday without it being a big deal. And it helps me. I do know that some little tasks will get away from me for a day. And then the next day, I have an extra little buildup of them and I'll have to do them all. I'll have that time. I have a time block set in so that pay attention to what my are at the midday and at the end of the day to try to make sure that I keep, missing too many things. I write everything down. So I have bowl that I write everything in. I keep my notes, using Fathom Note Taker for my meetings to make sure that if there's a task that I have been assigned to do, that I do that task within a, reasonable amount of time. That has the things in it. I have the Fathom notes that help. I have emails. I keep track of my emails by keeping, this is going to surprise some people, but I keep my box clear. I have folders for everything. Okay. And so every time I've looked at an email and I've dealt with a problem, it gets put into the folder somewhere. Wherever it goes, if you work with me, I have a folder with your name on it in my email. And after I've completed a task for you that's in that email, it will get moved into my so that I can keep on anything that has come through from email. Um to keep your email box that clean. And I do spend time in the morning and periodically through the day trying to clear it out again because I do get emails from different places so that I can make sure I'm not missing anything from clients. So if you send me an email, I am guaranteed to see it because there's not too many emails in my email box when those come through. Sure that you by email that you are being careful to keep your email box in a way that makes sure you know what you've dealt with and what you haven't dealt with. Whether that's as they come in, they're marked as priority and you take them off of priority once you've dealt with them, even if that means you don't move everything out. To me, I couldn't do that because I feel like I would missing and I don't want to be missing things. Have about 6 different emails for different things. So I have my email connected to my web page. I have my Gmail account that everything goes through because of course I have Gmail. Instead of set up email accounts for me, I forward everything into my Gmail account and I deal with it from there. Um, I found when I had 6 different emails in 6 different places that I was not being as mindful as I could be, and I was missing things. I use and again, I'm not sponsored by anybody at this point, so please believe if I'm saying something, I actually use it. But, Shift is a program that allows you to have multiple Gmail accounts. Well, you can be logged into multiple Gmails. I use that so that I can watch emails that I need to watch because it's not just e- I have 2 Gmail accounts, but then I have my roofer who has like 17 email accounts that I watch for him. So, watch. And so I keep everything situated so that it's all in one place. I can also use the chat function from inside that program. I can go right to my Google Drive from that program, my calendar, anything Google, all of that can be reached from right inside Shift. And I love that that happens because it helps me to have one thing open instead of multiple tabs in. Believe me, I have my browser tabs open, but none of them are email. And I have opened up a browser window specifically to download videos because Shift for some reason won't usually let me download videos from because virus scan can't do it because the files are too big. So it won't let you download them. I have to open a browser to do that. One thing, not a big thing. Most people don't even have to download videos, so that should be fine. Um, use a browser called Sidekick, and that helps me to keep, because I have school groups, I have two different phones with messages, I have WhatsApp. Um, so I have so many, and I have Dropbox. So there's just so many of those kind of programs that, again, one browser for that works best for me because I can keep my text messages because I have two phones where before I had to use two different browsers to have those. Now I don't have to do that. So I just have the one browser. I just have to switch back and forth between the two, and it's not a big deal. It's great for me. My Google Chrome that I use for everything else, for all of my um, and other things that you can get into. Google Chrome just is the best for all of that. Um, my computer, and I have started using it a little bit, but that's mostly for gaming because it has just some good features for gaming, and in it and all that. I mostly still through Google of a program that helps me with my so when you're doing your tasks, when you have your tasks, make sure you only have the things open that you want to. If you use a Neuro timer to, like, you're only going to do something for 5 minutes or 10 or 20 or whatever, then that may help you. Like I said, I use a block schedule so that I know when I'm supposed to be working. And um, honestly, and I usually get a lot done every day. Some days I don't get so much done. We all have that. So make sure you're just being okay with yourself. Thank you for watching.